Welcome back to my channel. The boardroom on the 42nd floor overlooked the entire city. Floor-to-ceiling glass reflected the morning sun while executives in expensive suits quietly reviewed financial reports worth billions of dollars. At the far end of the table sat CEO Victoria Hayes. She was known as one of the toughest business leaders in America. Newspapers called her the Iron CEO. She had built Hayes Industrial into a global manufacturing giant, and nobody dared challenge her decisions. That morning, security escorted a man into the room. His clothes were clean but worn. His work boots showed years of hard labor. A faded blue mechanic's jacket rested over his shoulders. His name was Daniel Carter. A single father. Owner of a tiny repair garage on the edge of town. Most executives exchanged amused glances. One whispered, "A mechanic?" Another laughed quietly. "Looks like he got lost." Victoria didn't even bother standing. She looked at Daniel for barely 2 seconds before returning to her tablet. "So you're the man asking for this meeting?" Daniel nodded politely. "Yes, ma'am." She sighed. "I have exactly 3 minutes." Daniel calmly placed a small folder on the polished table. "I believe your company is about to make the biggest mistake in its history." The room instantly became silent. Victoria slowly leaned back. "You realize this meeting costs more money per minute than your garage probably makes in a month." Several executives laughed. Daniel remained calm. "I understand." Victoria folded her arms. "Then make it quick." Daniel opened the folder. Inside were engineering drawings. Old manufacturing blueprints. Maintenance reports. Serial numbers. Victoria barely looked. "We already have an engineering department with over 2,000 employees." "I know. We have consultants from Europe." "I know. We hired the best experts in the industry." "I know." She smiled coldly. "Then let me save us both some time." She slid the folder back toward him. "You're not worth my time." More laughter filled the room. One executive actually shook his head. "This is embarrassing." Daniel slowly picked up the folder. For a moment it seemed he would simply leave. Instead, he quietly spoke one sentence. One sentence that instantly changed everything. He looked directly at Victoria.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Enjoy the video.
"Before you sign Project Titan this afternoon, you should know your late father rejected the exact same design because he knew it would fail." Silence. Complete silence. Victoria's smile disappeared. Every executive froze. No one moved. No one breathed. Only one person in the room knew the name Project Titan. Victoria. The project was completely confidential. Even many board members didn't know its details. Her voice became serious. "What did you just say?" Daniel answered calmly. "I said your father rejected that design 26 years ago." One board member frowned. "Impossible." Another whispered. "How would he know?" Victoria slowly stood. "Who are you?" Daniel finally looked directly into her eyes. "I worked for your father." The room exploded with confusion. "No way. He never mentioned this. Security should remove him." Victoria raised one hand. Everyone became quiet. She stared at Daniel. "My father passed away 20 years ago." "I know. He never employed mechanics from small-town garages." Daniel smiled sadly. "He did." Victoria frowned. "My father hired engineers." Daniel nodded. "He hired one apprentice mechanic too." She narrowed her eyes. "You?" Daniel nodded again. "When I was 19. The executives looked at each other. Victoria slowly sat back down. "Explain." Daniel opened another folder. Inside was an old employee identification card. Yellow with age. Hayes Engineering Apprentice. Daniel Carter. Employee number 00418. Victoria looked closely. The signature at the bottom belonged to her father. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Daniel continued. Your father believed every engineer should spend 1 year working with mechanics. He said machines don't lie. Several older board members exchanged surprised looks. One elderly director finally spoke. I remember that program. Victoria looked toward him. You do? He nodded. Your father canceled it after retiring. Daniel smiled. He canceled the program. But he never stopped teaching. Daniel carefully placed another document onto the table. It was covered with handwritten notes. Victoria immediately recognized the handwriting. Her father's. She slowly reached for it. Her hands trembled. Across the top were 4 words. Project Titan Prototype. Below it, a handwritten warning. Never approve this cooling system. It will eventually destroy the main drive assembly. Victoria's heartbeat quickened. That exact cooling system was still being used. She immediately turned toward the company's chief engineer. Is this authentic? The engineer adjusted his glasses. Studied the paper. Compared the handwriting. Looked shocked. It appears genuine. The room became completely silent. Daniel continued. Your father didn't reject the project because it was expensive. He rejected it because the design ignored a tiny mechanical flaw. Victoria whispered. What flaw? Daniel walked to the digital screen. Picked up a marker. In less than 60 seconds. He redrew the entire drive assembly from memory. Every bolt. Every bearing. Every shaft. The engineers watched with growing disbelief. Finally, Daniel circled one tiny component. This bearing overheats after approximately 4,000 operating hours. One engineer laughed. Impossible. Daniel looked at him calmly. What material is it? The engineer answered confidently. Grade 52 steel. Daniel shook his head. No. The engineer frowned. Yes. Daniel smiled. Check page 186 of your supplier contract. The engineer quickly opened his laptop. Typed rapidly. His face suddenly turned pale. It's grade 48. The room erupted. What? Impossible. How did he know? Daniel answered before anyone asked. Because grade 52 was discontinued 8 years ago. You've been using the cheaper replacement ever since. Victoria stared at her engineering team. No one spoke. No one could deny it. Daniel quietly continued. If Project Titan launches, every machine will begin failing within 18 months. Someone whispered. My God. The financial director quickly calculated projected losses. His face turned white. If that's true, we could lose nearly $3 billion. Nobody laughed anymore. Victoria slowly looked toward Daniel. You figured this out. From one bearing. Daniel smiled. No. I figured it out because your father taught me something. She waited. He always said. Expensive mistakes begin with tiny parts everyone ignores. Victoria lowered her eyes. Those words. She had heard them once as a child. Her father used to repeat that sentence constantly. Only someone who truly knew him could have remembered it. The proud CEO who had dismissed Daniel minutes earlier suddenly realized something painful. She had forgotten the values her father built the company on. While this mechanic had never forgotten them. Victoria stood. Walked around the enormous boardroom table. Stopped in front of Daniel. Every executive watched. Then, to everyone's absolute shock, the billionaire CEO extended her hand. "I'm sorry." The room froze again. She continued. "I judged your clothes. I judged your garage. I judged your title. But I never judged your knowledge." Daniel shook her hand. "I didn't come here for an apology. I came because your father saved my career once. I couldn't watch his company make the mistake he warned about." Victoria smiled for the first time. "What do you want?" Daniel answered honestly. "Nothing. I already have everything I need. My daughter. My garage. My dignity." The board remained speechless. Victoria slowly turned toward her executives. "Effective immediately. Project Titan is suspended." Gasps filled the room. She continued. "And beginning today, Daniel Carter will lead an independent engineering review." One vice president objected. "A mechanic can't lead." Victoria interrupted. "A mechanic just saved this company billions. He has earned more respect in 20 minutes than some people have earned in 20 years. Nobody argued again. 3 months later, the review uncovered dozens of hidden design flaws. Hayes Industrial avoided one of the largest engineering disasters in company history. Financial analysts later estimated Daniel's discoveries saved the company over $3.4 billion. But Daniel refused every executive office. He refused luxury cars. He refused a mansion. Instead, Victoria visited his little garage herself. "What can I do for you?" Daniel smiled. "My town needs a vocational school. So kids who love fixing things don't have to choose between talent and opportunity." 1 year later, the Carter Technical Academy opened beside his old garage. Hundreds of students enrolled. Above the entrance hung a bronze plaque. It carried only one sentence. "Never judge a person's value before listening to what they know." Like and subscribe.